Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. Chris Eubank stops Kamil Szeremeta in 7 rounds, one-sided rounds. He floors him 4 times. Szeremeta game didn't really have anything to offer, but I think with Eubank we saw almost like a microcosm of his career because we saw some good stuff, some bad stuff, some real skills, some real flaws. How he makes 160 at this point of his career, he's 35, I do not know. He was huffing and puffing after 3 rounds a little bit, but he seemed to get a second wind. And I was exchanging WhatsApp messages with Lee from Inside the Distance and his friend Dean. And Lee made a very, very good point. He said that Eubank fights like a puncher when he's not a puncher. He fights with the wrong style. I think that's a really good observation, a very, very important point, because he loads up with every punch. And, you can even the impact, you hear it, like Dean was saying, that you can actually hear the impact, but it doesn't have much effect. He's not a one-punch banger. But he is sharp. I mean, his feet are quite slow, Eubank. He's never had the best footwork, but he does fire sharp single pot shots and good combinations. Having said that, I mean, in the first round, down goes Szeremeta from a chopping right hand. He gets up and you think, is it going to be an early night? Eubank doesn't seem in any hurry to finish it. In the second round, suddenly Szeremeta's finding a bit of a groove. And this is the side of Eubank which is not so great because he's kind of almost letting Szeremeta have these periods of time, these little 5-second, 8-second pockets where he can think about what he wants to do. Eubank tends to... He fights in explosive little pockets. And he is... look, I mean, Eubank has always had skills. He's just never really put it all together with any great consistency. His uppercut's brilliant. He lands good right hands, his accurate right hands. After 3 rounds, like I say, he was huffing and puffing a bit. He had a little bit of a nick above his right eye. I think there was a little bit of blood coming down, but that was easily contained. And then, middle rounds, Eubank, I think, won just about every round. Well, he did win every round. It was settling into a point where Eubank was just moving around, shedding some rust. Both guys orthodox fighters. Szeremeta always a step behind, a punch behind. Couldn't really do anything with Eubank. Did land some punches. But nothing that really perturbed Eubank, bothered him at all. Szeremeta, unable to really outbox Eubank or outpower him, but did show some guts. Then in the 6th round, Eubank, I think it was the 6th round, Eubank put Szeremeta over again from a right hand. Szeremeta gets up. Game guy. Can't deny he's not a game guy because he most certainly is. He's up there, trying to do his best, trying to sort of maul his way back into the fight. This was a 10-rounder. Szeremeta, former world title challenger, so he's got something about him. But at the same time, it wasn't a case of he was always a sort of B-level fighter. I mean, he's a Polish guy. He's 35 now, Szeremeta, so same age as Eubank, but had really sort of trodden water over in Poland against low-level guys. And then this fight came up, and he took. Oh, actually, this was a 12-rounder, not a 10-rounder, because the IBO title that everyone loves, that was on the line. It was a 12-rounder. I don't think he's ever going to go 12 rounds. And Eubank dealt with him accordingly, even though he did ship a few punches here and there that perhaps he shouldn't have done, and he doesn't have the power that he thinks he has, and there are little dips where he doesn't do much and allows the opponent to maybe think about what he's going to fire at him. But at the same time, he got the job done against a guy who's probably now a B- level fighter, C+ B- in terms of world level. And in the 7th round, the final round, Szeremeta took a knee after taking a big right hand, got up, and then got floored with body punches, big right hand to the solar plexus. And, yeah, he got up, but the referee stopped it. Probably the right decision. Szeremeta there was no point in seeing him ship any more punishment. He was getting beaten up, not just beaten, but beaten up. And who wants to see that when it's so one-sided and a guy keeps going on the floor? Why continue with the fight? I don't really see the point of it. Afterwards, Conor Benn jumps into the ring doing his fake Essex accent, thinking he's a tough guy even though he's from a millionaire background. He can fight, Conor Benn. They were, toing and froing and umming and ahhing, and EUBANK this time round, as opposed to yesterday when EUBANK got ambushed by Benn in the foyer of some, of the weigh-in, when they were having the weigh-in. This time it was EUBANK doing a lot more talking. Benn, oh, I'm so scared, and EUBANK, come on, sign the contract then, boy, and, all that usual panto stuff that we expect. I've always thought it's a gimmick fight. Benn fight looks like it might be next, but it's a gimmick fight. Ben's jumping up 2 weight divisions. Ben is kind of, he's not that intelligent. He comes across as being a bit dim. But I think that's one of the reasons why he probably thinks he can beat EUBANK. Maybe he could beat EUBANK. I mean, I would make him an outsider, but if EUBANK can make the weight, if he can make the weight at this age, if he doesn't get sloppy, if he avoids injury, then I think he should deal with Benn accordingly. I think he's got too much strength and power. Benn was like, oh, that performance. Well, you know what? Szeremeta would give Conor Benn a very good fight at middleweight. He'd take him rounds. Don't forget, Benn's last 2 opponents at welterweight have taken the distance. And since he got busted for the naughty, for taking something he shouldn't have done, the power seems to have gone out the window, which is food for thought, don't you think? Food being the operative word. Do I want to see that fight? Not really. Not really. I think it's a gimmick fight. I would expect EUBANK to win. But I think Eddie Hearn really is cashing out Benn with this fight. I've always thought that. 2.5 years ago, I thought this was a very strange fight to talk about. And I don't really get it. Unless you want to cash out Benn, or maybe make him a ton of money, and then if he does get beaten, he moves back down to 147 and has another big payday against Boots Ennis. I mean, can you imagine what Boots Ennis would do to Conor Benn? Jesus Christ. He'd smash him to pieces. I think if Tank Davis moved up from lightweight, he might well beat Benn. But anyway, that's a fight for the future. But that's what was talked about after this one. Standard stuff, routine, rust cheddar for Chris EUBANK Jr. 7 rounds, he stops Kamil Szeremeta. What did you think of the fight? What do you think about EUBANK? What do you think about EUBANK versus Benn? Do you care? Would you watch it? I'd probably watch it, but if it doesn't happen, I wouldn't be bothered. But leave your comments below. If you're new, thank you. Subscribe to the channel if you don't mind, and hit the like button. It helps us out. And more to come tonight, of course, on the Bivol Beterbiev undercard and the fight itself. I will be doing reviews. Please tune in later. Meantime, thank you very much and take care. Bye for now.